Few of my stress symptoms that I'm aware of are worry, impatience, and muscle tension. And regardless of what my stress source is, I almost always get those exact same symptoms. Knowing this allows me to spot them quickly and do something that's helpful. I'm very excited to show you the self-care plan workbook I designed. It consists of 16 worksheets and includes 6 stress management steps. These are: Step 1, identify your stressors. Step 2, identify your symptoms. Step 3, be mindful of those warning signs. Step 4, reduce unhelpful coping. Step 5, increase helpful coping. And finally, step 6, build a regular self-care routine. Let me quickly walk you through the workbook so that you become familiar with each worksheet and you understand how you can complete it. The first page contains summarized information of what stress is, how it could be managed, and the 6th step I just mentioned. So nothing to complete here, just some brief information for you. The second page helps you identify your own stress sources. I've included the list of common stressors we discussed at the beginning of this class. So what I advise you to do is to look at those examples and consider what tends to trigger your stress. Put a tick next to the ones that apply and use the last column on the right to rate the impact each trigger has on your stress levels. 1 means low impact, 2 means medium, and 3 means high. So some triggers may not cause as much stress, just discomfort with few symptoms. We would give those triggers a rating of 1. Other triggers may produce more stress symptoms, and we would give them a rating of 2. And lastly, you may be having triggers that significantly impact your emotional well-being and everyday life. You would give them a rating of 3. This will help you be mindful of your biggest sources of stress. And this knowledge increases the likelihood of you taking helpful actions rather than unhelpful ones when you are in such situations again. Also, if you have other stress sources which are not included in this list, you can write them down on the blank rows below. Up next, we have step 2, which is where you identify your symptoms. So on the 3rd and 4th page, you will see a list of common physical, emotional, mental, and behavioral stress symptoms. Put a tick next to the ones that apply. And use the last column on the right to recognize which symptoms you experience more frequently than others. For example, few of my stress symptoms that I'm aware of are worry, impatience, and muscle tension. And regardless of what my stress source is, I almost always get those exact same symptoms. Knowing this allows me to spot them quickly and do something that's helpful, which in my case is progressive muscle relaxation and putting things into perspective. The same way you can rate the frequency of each symptom you experience using the following scale: 1 sometimes, 2 often, and 3 always. You can also write down any additional stress symptoms you may be having on the blank rows below. And then on the 5th page, you would summarize the most impactful stress sources you're currently facing, along with the symptoms you experience most frequently. So you would go through the previous pages and extract the most valuable information, your stress warning signs. What should you be on a lookout for is the question you want to answer. And this worksheet helps you to do that. Once summarized, the goal is being mindful of those warning signs so that you become able to spot them on time and quickly engage with self-care activities rather than unhelpful coping. This will help you prevent the water in your bucket from overflowing. The 6th page is simple. You have to identify your own unhelpful behaviors. What do you do to cope with stress, which provides you with short-term relief, but actually causes you more trouble in the long run? Have a look at the list and put a tick next to the items that apply. If there is something else you do that makes you feel better in the short term but has a negative impact on your emotional well-being in the long term, make sure you add that as well on the blank rows below. The goal here is to recognize that those behaviors are problematic, an unhelpful way to manage stress. So please challenge yourself to handle stress effectively by choosing helpful self-care activities rather than unhelpful ones. The next few pages are very interesting. They are what I call self-care menus. You have 6 menus for each self-care category, which contain lists of activities and ideas you can incorporate into your weekly routine in order to practice self-care. So just like in a restaurant, have a look at each menu and choose the ones you like. Put a tick next to the activities you're already doing, a star next to the activities you think it's very important for you to start doing, and a heart next to the activities you are excited to try out right away. And should you have any ideas about additional activities that would help you practice self-care, you can add those as special orders on the bottom of the relevant menu. So here all you have to do is identify which activities to engage in either now or in the near future. This is all based on your preference, on your liking. Once that's done, you would create your own stress bucket. Use the information you have completed on the previous pages to fill in the blank spaces. What are your main stress sources now? What are your recycled stress behaviors? What are your favorite self-care activities that would help you eliminate your stress through the helpful coping tab? This may be physical, such as meditation, breathing exercises, good diet, water, or they may be emotional, such as keeping a journal, the best friend technique, leaving 30 minutes in your day as white space, or spiritual, putting things into perspective and so forth. Everyone has different preferences. That's why I try to create lists with as many ideas and activities as possible. So take your time exploring and identifying what works best for you in a given stressful situation. Now we reach to the final step, step 6, which is where you focus on building a healthy self-care routine. You will see a monthly self-care plan worksheet on the 15th page of the workbook. All that you would have to do is to set 3 goals by narrowing down your options. Use the information on the self-care menus to select 3 activities from each self-care category. 3 activities that you would like to work on this month. Which means that every month you can print a new copy of this worksheet and set new goals. For example, this month I will practice emotional self-care by writing in a journal daily, which will also help me become aware of the language I use to speak to myself. I will be using the best friend technique when I'm under stress, and this would help me to start respecting and validating my emotions the same way I respect and validate the emotions of others. This month I will practice physical self-care by improving my diet. I will cut down my sugar intake and eat candy only 4 times a week. I will also download and use a mindfulness app and drink 2 liters of water each day. I will practice practical self-care by making an annoying task list and doing the challenge every Saturday. I will do some house declutter and social media declutter. In terms of social self-care, I will stay in touch with my friends on FaceTime, organize an online catching-up session every Friday night, and play some online games together. 3 ways I can practice mental self-care this month is by playing chess with my spouse, listening to podcasts, and taking a career development online course. Finally, I can practice spiritual self-care by donating my old clothes to charity, creating a positive affirmations list, and making a list of my core values so that I evaluate what's most important in my life. These were just examples. Spend some time going through your own self-care menus and see what you would like to work on this month. And finally, once you have your main goals for this month, you would need to incorporate them into your weekly schedule so that you don't forget to complete them. A great and a very simple and easy way to do this is by using the worksheet on the last page of your workbook. This is your weekly self-care scheduling record. It's also called activity scheduling. And it's quite simple. You schedule your self-care activities ahead of time and you track your achievements. This record is designed to assist you in creating a healthy self-care routine filled with meaningful and purposeful activities that help you eliminate stress through the helpful coping tab, and also to build emotional resilience in the long run. This simple record is actually a very successful treatment method for overcoming procrastination, for overcoming avoidance, and even depression. And its goal is to become more proactive and less reactive. It provides us, and you will see once you start writing things down and checking them off, it provides us with feelings that we need. And those feelings are feelings of accomplishment and fulfillment, which in turn lifts our mood and improves the quality of our lives. So once you complete your monthly self-care plan, you would have to choose which activities to engage in this upcoming week. However, this doesn't mean trying to do all of them right away. Instead, I would encourage you to start by choosing a maximum of one activity from each self-care category. So 6 tasks in total. If that seems to be too hard to complete this week, and even unrealistic, you can start with just 3 activities. So a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 6. Then the following week, you can complete another copy of this record. And you can either increase the number of activities or pick different ones from your monthly plan. Again, it's up to you how many activities you choose to start with and what kind. But please remember to start with easy, achievable tasks, and remember that each step is an achievement in its own right, no matter how small it is. It's very important not to set weekly tasks that seem too big right now, as this can create pressure and lack of motivation. If we try to do too much too soon, we can feel as if everything is hard to achieve, and we may stop trying. This may reinforce engagement with unhelpful coping, which is something we don't want to happen. So the bottom line is, start off small, with easy, achievable tasks. Give yourself time to gradually build a healthy self-care routine. Let's take an example, shall we? I can say that this week I will start with just 3 activities. I will download the mindfulness app and listen to the guidance every evening before I go to sleep. I will do that for a minimum of 15 minutes. I will also write in a journal how I'm feeling, and I'm going to do that every day after work, which means Monday till Friday. I will also do a closet declutter and donate my old clothes to charity. That's it for this week. I start with small, achievable tasks that I don't feel overwhelmed by. And as you can see, I put dots on the days where I want to achieve those tasks. This makes it easy for me to see what I have to do on a daily basis. So you can do that as well. Just put dots on the days where you plan to achieve those certain tasks. And then what do you do once you schedule those tasks? You try to accomplish them, and then you come back to this record and you check them off. Thank you for watching this class. I hope you found it informative and useful. Please let me know in the comments below, what did you learn today that you didn't know before? What are the key take-home messages for you? Then download the workbook and create your own self-care plan as soon as possible while all of this information is still fresh in your mind. I wanted to quickly mention that if anxiety is something you struggle with and you experience significant physical symptoms when you are under stress, please make sure you check out the Anxiety Relief Program on our website. It teaches you clinically proven and practical techniques to calm your body down in overwhelming situations. And it's particularly helpful if you experience physical symptoms such as increased heart rate, chest pain, muscle tension, sweating, and shaking. Because everything included in this program is designed to tackle those symptoms. I want to say again, thank you for dedicating an hour and a half. Actually, it's probably going to be more than an hour and a half. Now I'm recording this, but then when I speak to my video editor, I'm pretty sure it's going to be more than an hour and a half. So thank you for completing this class. And remember that the goal of self-care is for you to take care of yourself as much as you would of the people you love. So set aside time and effort to do so. Your mental health matters. Your well-being should be a priority. I will see you again in any of the videos you may rewatch or in another class or program. Bye for now.